Welcome to the 100X podcast, powered by Destination Abu Dhabi. I'm honored to be here. My name is Kris and I am your guest co-host of this podcast. And let me tell you, I'm an entrepreneur myself. So this podcast is right up my alley because we're looking at, unique stories, success stories, other entrepreneurs. How did they get to where they are today? Where are they going? Where were they before they were right here? This is what it's all about, and it starts right now. And our guest on this podcast is someone very special, very unique, and I can't wait to introduce him. Welcome to the 100X podcast. Now it all begins. And our next guest and our special guest here is someone who has pushed their own boundaries, and we're about to get inside their head. And I've got 3 envelopes sitting in front of me. And I love this because we're going to ask our guest to choose one envelope, keep it with them for the entire time of the podcast. And then at the end of the podcast, we're going to get this opened up and find out what's in their envelope. All right, I'm ready. You ready? Are you ready for our guest?
Let's do this.
He is the CEO of 42 Abu Dhabi, and we're going to find out what that's all about. Please welcome the CEO, Mr. Muller-Habig. Muller-Habig. Did I get the name right?
Yeah, you got it, man.
Yes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you here. First of all, you and I have had a little chat just before we started this, and instantly I feel that you're relaxed. I feel like you've got this calmness about you. You're a chilled guy.
So I just recently started doing a master's program, and the very first thing they do is a personality assessment. And they actually, one of the highest traits was emotional reactivity. So I tend to, apparently I respond very sharply to emotions. It's something I've been working on. So maybe that calmness is coming across. So we'll see. I hope I remain calm even with those strange envelopes. We'll see.
Well, those strange envelopes, before we go any further, I'm going to ask you to choose one. Now, we don't know what's in these envelopes.
Do you know?
Somewhat.
Okay.
But I don't want to give too much away.
Fair enough.
All right, so 3 envelopes. You're going to hold that envelope. You're not going to look at it until after the podcast.
Promise. Okay.
All right, so you've got 1, 2, and 3 closest to me. Which one do you want?
Middle, number 2.
Was there a reason for the middle?
I like 2. I like even numbers. It makes more sense to me.
Don't look. Just keep it on the table. You can keep that on the table.
Okay.
Keep it on the table.
Keep it on the table.
I want to see that envelope at all times, Marcos.
I'm not. Don't worry.
Okay, let's start off. Let's start off. What is 42? What does that number represent?
So it depends on who you ask.
Okay.
42 Abu Dhabi specifically is a coding school, which is the shortest answer I can give you, right? So it's the long answer is a disruptive higher education institution. Mm-hmm. But that's the scientific answer. The real answer is we're a coding school. And it's not an ego thing. I just like to think that we're the Harvard of coding.
I love that.
It's what we boil it down to. Strip everything away, and when you have just coding, what does it look like? It's 42. The name and the number originally started from France. It was founded in 2013.
Okay.
And we're part of a global network of campuses, right? So there's 50 campuses. They actually just announced 2 today, one in Beirut and one in Palestine. So we're very proud. We're making great strides. They actually came and met with us. And,
I love that.
And we're trying to help them as best we can. But we're part of the global network that's centralized around Paris. But the number 42 specifically, which people see it all the time, right? There's G42, there's other things. It's actually from a book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, from Douglas Adams.
I've only watched the movie.
It's in the movie as well. So right in the intro to the movie, they create that computer deep thought, right? Huh. And there's that 7 million year period between asking the question and getting the answer. And that period, the answer becomes, when they ask the question again, what is the meaning of the ultimate question, the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? And then the computer answers, 42. Right. And the whole movie kind of stops and everybody's like, what does that mean?
42,
what is
42,
that?
42.
Yeah. So again, depends on who you ask. Some people will say that 42 is the meaning of life.
Okay.
I like to think of it a bit differently because, like I said, our ego is not that big here. So I'm not saying that 42 Abu Dhabi is the meaning of life. What I think more about it is when you ask the right questions, you'll get the right answer, right? So I just think the question wasn't posed properly. And so that question, the answer of 42 kind of left everybody wondering. So 42 is a journey about learning to ask the right questions, at least for me.
What a great answer. I want to know more about 42 Abu Dhabi. But before, I want to get to know you a little bit more. I want to find out how you got here in Abu Dhabi and how you became the CEO. I like to strip it all the way back, and I want to start off with you as just a human, just a basic human being, as we all are. What do you like to do, Marcos?
I'm actually pretty boring. So I've always had hobbies. I love to learn. So I'm always looking for new things, new hobbies, and I've always been super interested. I think one of the main common themes about my life is around gaming. I've always loved video gaming. It's always been my jam. It's how I relax. It's how I rest. My best friend actually lives in the US, and that's how we keep up. We have families, we have responsibilities, but Saturday night here and Saturday morning for him, we play a game.
What's the game of choice?
It depends on what's the mood, right? So what's coming out, what's not, what we're feeling like. Is it a shooter, strategy, whatever, right? So it depends. We'll play anything. But for me, that's kind of been my main theme, but I kind of hyperfixate on some hobbies, right? So sometimes I'll get into it and I'll be like, I want to learn how to build keyboards, like computer keyboards. So I was building mechanical keyboards for a bit. I got really into baking during COVID, just because cooking is an art and I'm terrible at art.
Was it banana bread by any chance? I feel like we all cooked banana bread throughout COVID.
100%. But the one thing I did not do sourdough. So that was not my jam. I don't know why. I just couldn't get into it. But I did banana bread. I did pies, cookies. COVID was a weird time for everyone.
It was.
But it kind of, and we used to do Pizza Tuesdays before COVID hit. And then during, I just got my kids involved. So we would make the dough, and then we got them little chef outfits. And so they were like putting pepperonis in and the sauce, and it was awesome.
You said kids. How many kids?
4 kids.
4 kids?
Yeah. It's actually, it's a kind of a funny story. So my wife and I were told that we couldn't conceive. And so we went through IVF, and we had twins, and we're like, we're done, right? That's it. We hit the lucky number. It was one of those things where the doctor set us up. He was going to do the first scan. And he was like, oh, today must be my lucky day. We're multiples day. And I was like, what do you mean multiples day? And he's like, well, the 2 couples before were triplets. I was like, Doc, 2 tops, man.
Wow.
A week later, after he was like, oh, yeah, there is twins and stuff like that. A week later, when it hit me, I was like, he set me up. He made 3 sound normal, so I would be okay with 2, right?
Wow.
So we had twins, and we were done. And then we were blessed. And we were blessed with another boy. So it was 2 boys and then a 3rd boy. And we were like, 1 in a billion, right? This is it. We're good. And then we had a 4th, and it was a daughter. And so now we're good. Like,
you got
we're
3
done,
boys.
done.
You got 3 boys and a girl.
Correct. Yeah. So the little princess, she's the youngest. She's about to turn 2. My middle boy is about to turn 4, and the twins are almost 6.
Isn't fatherhood the best?
The best.
I got 2 daughters, 14 and 12.
Wow.
Got a new little boy coming in about 8 weeks.
That's awesome.
So.
Are you nervous?
No, I think because I've been there.
But it's been a while, right?
It has been interesting enough. It has been a while, and I'm divorced. So my first 2 girls were from my first wife, and so this time around, I was more about, I don't want to show my wife that I've been there and done that, right? So I wanted to keep silent somewhat and not be like, oh, I know what I'm doing here. But you're right. After 12 years, I forgot most of it, and it is a new experience, and it is all brand new, and I'm experiencing everything new again. So no matter what you do in life, I always feel like when you get to become a parent, there's something very special about that moment.
Yeah, and like the science changes, right? So there's a whole bunch of new literature about what's new, what's better, what's not, what works, what doesn't work. And depending on who you ask, you never know what answer you're going to get, right? So is it co-sleeping, or is it, are you trying to wean them off? And there's so much.
You got to watch out. You got to watch out because everyone has their own opinion.
100%.
But also what's different is the technology where, I remember just buying a random stroller. Now there's a stroller that's electric and it has automatic brakes and Bluetooth. And I'm like, what's going on?
with the twins, the absolute best thing in the world was this rocking chair that would connect to Bluetooth so you could play music and it would move them around. Because you can like put one kid down and that chair would actually put them to sleep, and then you can actually handle it, because otherwise it was impossible.
I'm gonna get the details of that chair before you get out of here. So how do you manage it all? How do you? I mean, 4 kids is not easy. Obviously, you have an amazing wife as well, but you're the CEO. You've got a lot of work, that you've got to get to and be a father. Have you got that balance? Have you worked it out? Because sometimes it takes us a while to try to get that balance. Have you found it yet?
No, I'm pretty terrible at it. I haven't taken a vacation since 2018. So it's something that I'm not incredibly proud of. I don't balance that well. I'm always available. I do make sure to leave the office every day at the same time. I want people to know that it's okay, and there's no expectation to stay late or to work. I don't like that. I tend to obsess because of perfectionism, right? But it doesn't mean that everybody needs to follow suit, nor do I ever expect anything like that. So I always want to make sure that balance is of the utmost. I'm just terrible at following my own advice. So I tend to stay connected.
But are you better? Because I found I'm better when I'm working.
Yes.
I feel like when I'm working, that's what I'm meant to do.
100%.
And I feel like when I'm given time, that's when I have these thoughts in my head that just start doing weird things. I'm like, I'm a better person working.
100%.
Do you find the same?
100%. And for me, I also think, like we're talking about fatherhood earlier. And the thing about it for me is your kids just want your time. Correct. They just want to be with you. If they have 100 toys or 1 toy, they don't care, right? They want to be with you. And so work is a time where I cannot be with them. And so the cost in my head is to them, not to me. So my shareholder really are my kids, my family. So if I'm not there with them and I can't be, then I will give 120% because I owe it to them. Right. So that's where I focus the most. That's where I'm absolutely giving it my all, because I owe it to them, because otherwise, if I wasn't doing it, if I'm going to, then I would just be home, or I would be spending time with them, or I'd be doing something that's less demanding. Right. So if I'm going to do something that I want to do, that I love doing, that I love that it has an impact, then I'm going to have to dedicate hours to it. I'm going to give it 120%.
Good on you, though. I think that's good. As a parent, we all feel guilty. I think we're always on that barrier of feeling guilty. But I think to myself, when we were kids, I was lucky to see my parents, 30 minutes a day if I was lucky.
100%.
You know what I mean? I feel like now where we are in this year, that we as parents want to do more and we want to see more. So, but it's good that you're honest with yourself as well. You got to get a holiday in.
Yeah.
Where's your favorite place to travel? What's that? If we could get you on a plane right now, Marcos, and said you're traveling. Obviously, we're here in the beautiful Abu Dhabi, and we love Abu Dhabi. Yeah. We love the UAE. But if you wanted to go on a holiday destination right now, where is that plane ticket taking you?
Man, that's a hard question. So it depends. Like Christmas in Prague, there's absolutely nothing like it. Okay. That's my favorite one, but I've made a promise to myself. Okay. For my 40th birthday, I'm going to give myself a gift, and it will be a travel-based gift. Growing up, playing video games in the late 90s, early 2000s and stuff, there's one car that I'm obsessed with, which is a Nissan Skyline, but the early 2000s version, right?
Of a Skyline.
I've never seen one in person, ever.
You need that.
Yeah, so they never came to the U.S., right? They're only right-hand drive, so it was Japan. There's some in the U.K., some in Australia. I've just never been fortunate enough.
In Australia, they were I grew up in Australia.
Oh, man.
The Skyline was everywhere.
I'm so jealous.
So you want to go? Where do you want to go to see this car?
Correct. So for my 40th birthday, which is right around cherry blossom season, I want to go to Tokyo, and I found a company that will rent that car out. And I want to rent that car, and I want to drive to Mount Fuji. And that is my dream. It's been like 6 years that I've been thinking this one up, and it's still a couple years away, but that's 100% what I want to do. So
you've got to do it, Marcos. And when you do, I want to see that photo.
I'll send it. I promise. Right, having lunch at the top of Mount Fuji, man. Oh,
we can get you a Skyline imported here. That's possible.
Can you really?
100%.
Really?
If you want a Skyline, I got people that can bring.
Really?
You know what I'm bringing?
I got an extra kidney. I'm barely using it, right? Like,
you're gonna sell it. I'm on the hunt for a DeLorean.
Are you really?
Yep.
I've actually seen one.
I've seen two here.
Not here. I've seen two when I lived in the U.S. I spent about 8 years in the U.S. I've seen two there, and they are unbelievable to see. Because it's like a stainless steel body, if I'm not mistaken, and that is so striking to see in person. It was such an iconic car, and obviously Back to the Future.
That car was horribly made, though. Do you know? It was meant. It's not a great running car.
No, it was terrible.
But I think for you seeing the skyline going to Japan, I think that's something that when you're there, you're going to realize, wow, this is what I wanted for my birthday, for my 40th. So you've done all this, and you're not even 40.
No, I'm 37.
Look at you.
Yeah.
So let's now work out how this came about. How did you get into coding? And can I stop you there?
Sure.
There'd be a lot of people possibly listening that have heard the word coding. They don't know what it means.
So there's a lot of people that conflate kind of software engineering, software development, coding, and it's all the same thing. There are differences. Right? So software engineering side of it involves a lot more of the mapping out how programs will work, how they interact with each other, and things like that from a more of a macro scale. Coding is really the art of writing code, and it is 100% a creative endeavor. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, that's so technical," or it's so. It's not. It's absolutely a creative endeavor. You can write code 1,000 different ways, and it'll get you the same result. So it's very individual. It's very unique to the person, right? So I will say this: I am a terrible coder. I am incredibly fortunate for my job. My team is unbelievable. Everybody who comes out of this school, like within the first week, they're already better than me. But I
don't believe that.
I promise you, it's been so long. But so when I started, actually was in middle school. I was very fortunate living in Brazil. The school that I was at had a great computer program, and so we were starting with very basic stuff. And I actually ended up doing for a science fair in like 8th grade a 3D simulation of sickle cell anemia and what it meant into the DNA chain.
How old were you when you did that?
8th grade, so I don't even remember, 13.
Okay, so you're at the age of 13.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm playing rugby, and you are creating a 3D. What was it?
Yeah. So it was a 3D simulation of your DNA chain, like the double helix, and it would highlight essentially where the mutation was that caused sickle cell anemia. How
and why at the age of 13 did this come to you?
So we had a yearly science fair in the school, and it was something that was really interesting to me. It was a group effort. So I was working with a partner at the time, and he was super into 3D design. At the time, we were playing Counter-Strike, right? So it was the big thing going on. So people looking to design their own maps and 3D animation. So we were like, man, that's really cool. And so we wanted like a visual realization, and we were able to. Back then, it was very difficult to draw things out in 3D. It wasn't like MS Paint. They were kind of clunky, and we're talking early 2000s. And so I was just always really interested in it and building computers, and because you could play games, right? So you build it and build it better and build it different. So I kind of got started with that, but I got more into it, obviously in the MySpace time, right? You're doing HTML and stuff like that. And also with gaming, when World of Warcraft came out, it was huge, right? And I actually got kicked out of university because I played way too much World of Warcraft. Yeah, and
isn't that interesting? They kicked you out of
twice
of university because you were playing too much.
Twice. I mean, I didn't go to class, right? So it was a consequence of playing too much, but it's because I didn't show up to class.
Were you addicted?
Oh yeah, like 16, 18-hour days. Yeah, absolutely.
16, 18-hour days playing.
100%. Yeah.
Did you ever think about becoming a professional gamer?
We did, yeah.
You did?
We did. Yeah, we earned some income doing that. We were one of the top 40 guilds in the world, and I was like, for a while there, for a brief stint in time, I was like the third of my class out of like 12 million players. So I did pretty good. And one of the cool things about this game was that you could edit the user interface in a programming language called Lua, which at the time I found really interesting because Lua means moon. I was like, oh, wow, that's a cool name to give it, right? It's moon in Portuguese. Turns out it was made by a Brazilian guy. So I kind of just learned by trying to modify this user interface a little bit. And, there were some mods that you could get into it and really get into the code. And so that's when I started doing a bit more of it. But
is that when the coding journey really began?
Kind of. So I really wanted to do something around technology and computers, but at the time, it was very easy for you to think, oh, I don't want to be a software developer the rest of my life. I don't want to be there sitting in front of a keyboard. Just that's the only thing I do. I wanted, my dad was an entrepreneur. I wanted to do that journey, the entrepreneurship journey. So after I was, let's say, asked to leave university, a couple years later, when I had finished my journey of gaming addiction, I went back to the same university. And I said, look, I left my home country. I left Brazil to graduate from this university. I'm going to graduate from it. And initially they said, no, you already had chances. And I wrote enough letters and I bothered them enough that they let me back in.
Good on you.
So they let me back in, and I was just focused, hyper-focused on making sure that I could do my absolute best. And at the time, I was like, you know what, business interests me. So I went into business administration, and then marketing really was interesting to me. And so it was essentially a double bachelor's of business administration and marketing. It took a long time, it took me a good 7 years. So I think, 2 bachelors, 4 years each, right? I'm doing okay. And so around that time, I got into IT consulting, right? And so I was consulting for a small-ish company. They were out of Dallas, and I was living in Florida. As long as you were within an hour of an airport, they didn't care where you lived. So you would fly out, fly in, and the schedule was horrific. It was long days, but also flying and traveling and being away from home. And honestly, I was terrible at it. My motivation had gone to nothing. I was very bad at it. So after about a year and a half or so, they fired me. They're like, listen, the project's done. You're the only fresh graduate you've ever had. You're done.
Thanks.
So I didn't have a visa to stay in the US, right? That was it. That was a company that was sponsoring me. So I was like, what do I do? And I could go back to Brazil. But Brazil, it didn't feel like I fit. I just never felt like I fit. I felt like my personality, my sense of humor, I just felt more American.
Sure.
But I couldn't stay in the US. And I knew I had met some people over university that were from the region, that were both in Abu Dhabi. I met some people from Saudi, and they were generous enough to say, come to Abu Dhabi. You'll find something here. And I was like, you know what? Why not? So I packed everything I owned into 2 suitcases.
And what year was this?
2012.
Okay.
Packed everything I owned into 2 suitcases, got on a plane. I had a return ticket 10 days later. So it was for 10 days. Never took the return ticket. And that was 11 years ago. So I've been here ever since.
That's crazy. I love that. But so many of us have that journey, that story of coming to the UAE and saying, I'm going to come for a little bit.
Yeah.
And the next
2
thing
years tops.
Yeah. Everyone's got the 2 year story. And then the next thing you know, I'm 16 years here in the country.
Wow.
You're now how many years?
11
years.
11
years. Yeah. What was the first big, successful execution of a project that you put out? What was the game changer for you, do you think? That was, all right, this is what I do. This is what I'm going to be known for. This is why I'm the CEO of 42 Abu Dhabi.
I mean, nothing beats that, honestly. Nothing. Abu Dhabi Department of Education and Knowledge took a massive chance with me, I feel, and I am incredibly grateful for them. My previous job, I was working more business development. It was more sales focused. It was still technology, but that wasn't the primary driver. It was more so business selling technology services, right? And so they initially appointed me and they hired me. And when I was interviewing, I thought that it was for the position related to partnerships and business development. And they offered me the position of chief technology officer. And I was blown away. I was like, that's not.
Did you go home and tell the wife?
Yeah, of course. I was like, this is crazy. And, immediately I was like, yes, I'll take any challenge. Yeah, 100%. And it was my way. Like, I felt so grateful for Abu Dhabi for giving me my life, right? For being here, for being able to establish myself here, to have my kids here. So I was like, this is something that is going to have a societal impact. It's generating talent that this place desperately needs, right? Because we're driving towards the digitalization of the region. And Abu Dhabi being at the forefront of this, and the vision for Abu Dhabi to be at the forefront of this digital evolution is directly aligned with what 42 does. So I was like 100%, this is exactly what I want to do. And so I dove in and it was 2020. We had to get the doors open. It's a peer-to-peer model of education, which means there's no teachers. We do have faculty because we're accredited, but
there's no teachers.
There's no teachers.
So who?
There's no classes. There's no lectures. It's
just great minds coming together
program.
And just
collective intelligence, man. It is absolutely crazy.
What a great way to learn.
So you put 5 different people in 5 different rooms, and you ask them the same question that they don't know, and you'll get I don't know every single time. You put all 5 of them in the same room and ask them the same question, they'll come up with an answer. It's unreal to see. And so when you get this program going with the students and you put them all in one giant lab and everybody's sitting in front of the computers, they'll just start looking around and coming up with solutions.
It's like an escape room.
It's awesome.
It's like walking into an escape room with 5 people, like, we've got to get out of here.
100%. And so when they start, there's actually an instruction is, hey, if you have a question, look to your right. If they don't know, look to your left. If they don't know, you figure it out. It's like dive in. And so actually the selection process is called the piscine, which is French for swimming pool, because you got to dive in and sink or swim.
That's awesome.
It was so cool. But you can imagine during COVID, a bit difficult to get people convinced that, hey, yeah, they can totally just hang out real close together and talking.
But just stay a little bit away from each other right now.
Yeah.
That is, what a great way to learn. So would that then challenge people when you don't give people, I guess, rules or regulations, let's say, does that make it easier for them to learn? Because now it's up to them to push themselves. They don't have a teacher telling them you must do this. It's on themselves. So I'm guessing you mature a lot quicker, right? Because you have to learn responsibility because you're looking after yourself. Are there exams?
So there are. It's a self-discipline program. And the selection process of how they go through in order to be able to get into the program as a student is very much about self-selection. It's about that self-discipline, right?
Okay.
If they want it, they'll have it, which is funny. Before we get into the exams talk, 50% of our students have never coded before joining us, ever. That's what we specialize in. It's a gym for your mind. If you have the membership, but you don't go to the gym, you're not going to lose weight. Same thing at 42. You have the membership. If you don't make yourself get up and go and learn and be dedicated and be self-disciplined, it's not going to matter.
Just let's run through just a basic day right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm loving this idea. Like I've got my daughters, right, 14
Right.
and 12. And as much as I love the education system and I think education is so important, at the same time, I believe that there are better ways sometimes to be able to learn.
100%.
Right? So a day in the life of 42 Abu Dhabi as a student, do I have to come up at 9 a.m., 8:30? Does it start? Can I come when I like? Like what happens? Where do I go? There are other people around. Like where am I? I don't know what I'm doing.
So we're open 24/7. So come whenever. If you get up at 4 a.m, you have insomnia, go. Actually, the other day, we had some of our colleagues that were there. They had just gone out to dinner, so it was like 9:30 at night, and they're taking videos, and it's packed. It is packed.
At 9:30 at night?
Yeah. People studying, yeah. So during the selection process of 25 days, there's 4 exams, right? But because you only have these 25 days to prove to us whether you have what it takes to succeed, people really dedicate themselves. So you're talking, some people go 12, 14-hour days for 25 days straight, weekends included. And exams last for 4 hours. It's every Friday. And then you have a final exam that lasts for 8 hours on the last Thursday. So it's 25 days of brutality. And it's, they start with nothing. And you mentioned about changing the mindset. They are a different person when they finish. They awesome. Start with no knowledge of coding, or, even if they do have a knowledge, they don't know how to do it our way, right? There is also a bit of a sprinkle of the secret sauce that we do, right? Which is the way that the methodology that we use and the way that we expect people to code, because a vast majority of people are self-taught. And so, when you put in grammar rules, when you're talking about code, when you put in these rules, a lot of people struggle with that. They're like, well, that's not how I code. Well, tough. That's how you're expected to code here, because you have to share your code. When you submit a project, it's not me that's going to review you. It's your peers, your other students. And that's how you pass a project. Your students review you.
I love this. I have never been interested in coding until this very moment.
It's honestly, it's such a when I said disruptive higher education institution, that's where the disruptive comes from, right?
That's awesome.
And we do believe that it's not about replacing the old educational system. We think it's a complement. So if you think about education, you're casting a net, right? And the traditional education model will pick 80% of the population that will totally match up with it. All we want is like maybe an extra 5% that may not meet the traditional educational needs, but they still want to get educated. That's where we come in, right? So it's about accessibility. We welcome everyone from any nationality. We are completely free. So there's no tuition. There's no nothing. You pay absolutely nothing.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
You pay nothing?
Nothing. We are absolutely a nonprofit. And one of our ethos is radical inclusivity. And we will never take anything away from our students, ever. Even if they start a company, we won't take equity. It's theirs. It's their IP. It's everything is theirs. It's their projects. We mentor them. We help them. We partner with companies to even support them.
I want in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So that's what I meant by social impact. There's, we have 56 nationalities, and it's all because of the vision and the generosity of the Abu Dhabi government.
Well done, Abu Dhabi.
Right?
So I'm guessing there are a lot of people wanting to get in, and you say that it's a hard, or it's torture. I think you use the word of. I mean, now I realize why they're getting this for free.
It's a world-class education for free. So we started with, till today, we've had 37,000 people apply from all over the world, and we have 370 students. So 1%.
And how long does the cycle go for? Like, how long are you in the system for?
So we run between 4 and 5 selection processes per year. We're running one right now that ends on the 28th.
But once you're in, how long are you in? 42 up? Can I be there for 11 years? Because I'm like, I am loving this place.
So this is where it gets good. Yes and no. When you first join, we don't trust you yet. So there's a concept that we have called the black hole. Now, the black hole means that when you join...
I already know what's going to happen.
Yes. When you join, if you don't show progress, if you don't hand in a project within 76 days, your account is deleted. And there's no begging, there's no crying, there's no pleading. It's systematic. The system does it. So you're done. You show up one day, you try to log in. Nope. Oh my. Right. But the black hole is allergic to progress. You submit that project, it moves further away. You keep progressing, it keeps moving away. And so eventually, after about 18 to 22 months, 22 being the maximum, 12 being what we've seen as a very rapid pace, you finish what we call the Common Core, which is kind of the baseline standard. Like now people consider this as like, oh, okay, now you're a coder. No, you're incredible. Our students are finishing the Common Core now. But for the mastery, which are the advanced topics, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, we have projects where you create a virus and then you create the antivirus for the virus. Super cool stuff. For those, you could do that for the next 10 years. There's no black hole. We trust you. You've finished the Common Core. Take your time. Normally, people do it while working full time, and so we're there for them. Just do what you wish.
And like you said, you don't take an IP. I mean, if they were to create something that was going to make them $10 trillion one day because they created something right here in 42 Abu Dhabi.
100%.
You guys are like, congratulations, it's all yours, even though you learnt it here on our premise, in our buildings, using our coffee.
100%.
What a great representation. I love that.
We actually had a student that created a sign language interpretation app where you use the camera of your phone, sign with American Sign Language to it, and they're adding other languages, and it translates it to text or speech. And done, those are very advanced topics, which is natural language processing, computer vision, all that stuff together. And she learned it. It was actually her capstone project for her bachelor's at another university that she learned it. She said, all the skills I got were with from 42, and she loved it. And we're hoping to see what can we do next with her in the sense of like, does she want to incorporate it? What can we work with? And so we're very supportive. And something we're very proud of too is actually finding the people who may not think they're coders, but they are. Yeah. So we're 35% female, which is one of the highest of any of the 50 campuses.
That's awesome. Right?
Which is, for us, it's something that we're very proud of, right? It's inclusivity. We have 56 nationalities. So it's people that we have cabin crew. We have a DJ who wanted to change her concerts. And so she wanted to add some more coding to it. We have people with PhDs that want to further their research. We have people that want to get a PhD or a master's in artificial intelligence that need to know how to code. So it's all walks of life. And the average age being 27, it means that you get people from all over. That's students, beautiful. We have students in their 50s.
I love it. What are some other accomplishments that 42 Abu Dhabi has brought? I mean, just hearing that about the sign language.
Yeah.
Opening up the camera, that would help so many people globally.
Correct. That one was
Are there
really
any
cool.
other little ones like that you're like, we created this or we did this?
Yeah. So, the students are brilliant. Honestly, the students are brilliant. So we had one student who was supposed to do a project that's called ray tracing, which is ray tracing essentially when it comes to a video game is you trace the rays of light and where it bounces from the projection, right? So it's a ton of math, and it basically just makes it for realistic lighting in a game. But this guy, he took it to the next level. So he was like, okay, well, let's put different objects with different textures. And then I was like, okay, well, what if the objects were able to be moved? And how would the light kind of reflect and shadows and things like that? And then he was like, what if you could create object collision? Like, so he would like move objects and they would like collide with each other. And so then we had the global head, the guy who created the project originally from France, who was visiting the campus. And we showed this to him. He goes, I've never seen anyone do that. Like, you know what I mean? And so now we're looking to get him into the video game industry because this guy is essentially creating a game engine for fun. You know what I mean? Just for fun. We had another group of students who we saw that there's a really long time to screen applicants when you're trying to hire them into a job, right? So you start, let's say you have one position, you're talking maybe 20 interviews, but to get those candidates for interviews, you got to screen like 200 candidates, right? It's calling and they may not pick up and whatever. These students, a group of 6, created a website that you go in, the recruiter selects what questions they want you to answer. You go in and you film your answer and it's immediately sent to the recruiter. And then now they're like, how can we take it to the next level? Now they want to add natural language processing and artificial intelligence to give you a score. So let's say you're unsure or you're nervous, or the recruiter says, hey, faculty needs to talk about teaching, and this person didn't talk about teaching once, their score goes down. So now it's automatically giving feedback using artificial intelligence to the recruiter to make better choices.
That's awesome.
Cutting down the time, making it more efficient. Honestly, it's super cool.
Things move so quickly in your industry and in coding. How does 42 Abu Dhabi keep up with it? Are we evolving? Are we moving with the time?
So we do actually, from the 50 campuses, we meet once a year. We specifically talk about what's lagging behind, projects related to, we need to add something in blockchain or artificial intelligence. We're able to do that very quickly, right? Because it's very agile. So we develop the project, we test it out on a few campuses, and then we roll it out. And so we generally try to do something, every couple of months, about once a quarter, you'll get new projects in on new topics or new technologies that are coming out, or just enhancing other stuff. Like, this is great to learn Python, but let's talk about Python for data analysis, for example, right? So specific languages as well.
Awesome. ADEC. What's ADEC?
So ADEC is the Department of Education and Knowledge of Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
And they are our shareholder. So it was the ADEC vision that brought 42 to Abu Dhabi.
Because I was going to ask that question. Why did they choose, obviously, Abu Dhabi and the campus? It's one of the first ones in the GCC, right?
It is the first one in the GCC, yeah. It was actually, interestingly enough, so it wasn't the parent company that thought, hey, we should go to Abu Dhabi. It was more Abu Dhabi saying, we need that here, which goes to show you we're actually one of the few that are partnered with a Department of Education or any regulatory body related to education, because specifically, it shows you the vision, right? It tells you, wow, like, let's look at alternative deployments of education. Let's look into disruptive models. And that really shows you how advanced and forward-thinking they're looking, in the sense of like, look, yeah, we are operating normal schools, but let's also think about what's next, what's in the future. And so they saw this and they said, we need to have this digital talent here in UAE. And 42 has a massive track record over the past 10 years of creating some of the best talent, right? So there's about 37,000 people that have graduated from the program. And from France's campus, from the main campus, they have a 100% employability rate, right? And that's huge. That's really huge. So we've always been looking at people that may have specific qualifications like a bachelor's or something like that, but may not be finding employment. And so they'll reskill themselves or upskill themselves with us. And that's kind of the beauty of this program. It's so easy to slot yourself in. It's so easy to be able to immediately get feedback from and be able to apply your knowledge, because coding works with any industry at all.
I really think other schools, universities, colleges, but even other businesses could take a few things away on how 42 Abu Dhabi are actually doing things, right?
Yeah, so we try to not be disruptive for the sake of being disruptive, right? We want to have an impact at what we do. And so we're always trying to measure our impact. We're always trying to measure how good we're doing, our statistics, and we're always looking into this model of what can we do better. And so we look, we try something, and then we go back and we review it and see how we can do better. Lessons learned. So it's one thing I always say, and I actually learned this from the previous CEO of 42. He said, you can make mistakes, just don't make repeat mistakes. Don't repeat the same mistake, right? So learn the lessons. And one of the things we try to say with 42 is failure is okay. The only real failure is giving up. Everything else is learning. So we try to institute that with them because code never works the first time around. So it's about, okay, make mistakes, learn from them, do better. And that's what we believe in through and through.
We're joined by Marcos, who is the CEO of 42 Abu Dhabi here on the 100X podcast. My name's Kris, your co-host or your guest co-host here. And I want to welcome you to segment 2. Now, we've got to know Marcos. We've got to find out how he got to where he is. We got to learn a lot about 42 Abu Dhabi. Now I'm going to put you to the test a little bit here. I've got some questions. They're somewhat game trivia, riddles, some may say. So I'm going to spit them out at you.
Okay.
And let's see what you come back with. All right?
All right, let's do it.
Based on what you have shared so far, what is your self-assessment on a scale of 0 to 100?
0 to 100, that's a large scale.
So your self-assessment.
Self-assessment, I'm a perfectionist. I'll be completely honest.
Okay.
I'm very much a perfectionist. So recently I did a personality test, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
I usually would rate myself as like a C to B kind of level.
Okay.
But my team rated me and they were very generous. They were in the B to A range. So I still think I have some ways to improve, but I would say let's go with B minus. What is that? 80, 82. I like that.
I'll give you 95.
Well, thank you.
Okay,
That's
I'll
very
give you
generous.
95. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. There's something about, as soon as you went to the room, though, I felt that. I felt there was not only credibility, but there was humility as well, which I think is something important aspects to sort of have as a human, right? Now it's time to move because you and I are going to play a game against each other. Are you ready to do this?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
You don't know what this game's all about, but we're going to have some fun.
Okay, I'm ready. I love
Let's
games.
go. Come with me.
What about the envelope?
Keep it there for now.
Keep it there? All right, let's do this.
All right.
Here we go.
So, Marcos, welcome to the games area here. Now, we've got to know you a little bit. We've got to find out your personal side. We know that you're a great father. Your children mean everything to you. We've learned so much about 42 Abu Dhabi as well. But now I'm going to really put you to the test.
Okay.
We're going to play this game here. Have you ever seen this game before?
I haven't.
Okay. So it's pretty simple. We both have 8 little chips, I guess.
Okay.
And we have a little elastic band here. And the idea is to push them through each right there. So whoever can get all their chips to the other side first wins the game.
Fair enough.
Pretty simple, right?
Got it.
But now we're really going to put you to the test.
Okay.
Because I'm going to give you a riddle.
All right.
So I'm going to give you a riddle, and you have to try to solve that riddle whilst playing this game.
Okay.
You get me?
Sure.
So you got 2 sides of your mind working, I'm guessing, at the same time.
I don't know how good I am at riddles, but let's find out.
Okay, you ready to do this?
Let's do it.
May the best man win.
Good luck.
This could be my only chance.
No, we got this.
All right. Riddle number 1, Marcos. Right. Good luck. A person is 25 years old.
Okay.
And their father is 45 years old.
Okay.
How many years ago was the person's age half of their father's? Are you ready?
All right.
3, 2, 1. Play the game. Give me the answer when you know it.
Okay. 5 years ago. Is that right?
Yes, it's right. How did you get it so quickly?
Well, I mean, 40, 20, then there you go, half of 40.
See, I was given this question, this riddle.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't playing a game, and I still didn't know the answer. All right.
Let's do this.
You ready for another one? There's another one.
Okay, all right.
Good luck.
All right.
One person's salary is equal to their friend's salary.
Okay.
Additionally, their friend's salary is double their own when you add $1,000 to it.
Okay.
What are their salaries?
So a person's salary is equal to their...
Play the game.
Play
the game. I'm not going to give you too much.
$1,000.
That is correct.
Yeah?
$1,000.
Awesome.
How are you doing this?
I mean, I think it's in the way that it's worded, right? So I'm trying to kind of just come up with the meaning of the word. I think riddles is always, the answer is in the question, right?
All right. I'll give you another one.
All right.
Let's see if you can go 3 for 3. If a person is 4 years old and their sister is half their age.
Okay.
When the person turns 100, how old is the sister? Go.
98.
Yes, it's 98.
I heard something, to be fair, this one I did hear a similar one, but it was different numbers, but yes.
Guys, we got harder questions anyway? Come on. All right, final one.
Final one, okay.
Who's winning this game, by the way?
I got 7, so I'm 1 up.
You're 1 up on this as well. The son of water, yet when placed in water, he dies. Who is he?
The
Go.
son of water when placed in... Ice.
Yes, it is ice.
I got it?
Well done.
Thank you.
You're too good. But listen, you may be good at riddles. Let's play this game.
All right,
I just want to
go.
beat you at this game at least. Can
Let's
you let me
do
do that? Marcos, CEO, 42 Abu Dhabi. There's one thing that I'm going to win in this game. Have you come up with some type of algorithm yet to work out how to get these through?
No, at this point my brain is just switched off.
I am trying.
Oh, you're actually...
I am going to do all I can.
Oh,
there we go.
I think you sent one back your way.
What, it went that way and came back?
Exactly.
This is a lot harder than it thinks. Oh, you're in a routine here.
Oh, no.
What's your favorite sport if you had to play one right now?
I'm really into paddle right now.
Okay.
I'm getting into it, but probably golf, I would say.
You've got, how many you got? Why do I have all of yours here? How are you winning this and all the riddles? Maybe I need to get to 42 Abu Dhabi.
That might work.
No. Ah! Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This was awesome. I really appreciate it. Those riddles were tough, man.
But obviously not tough enough. Come with me.
Yes. Back over here.
We're back here at the main stage. Firstly, once again, congratulations on what you just achieved. Then, congratulations on everything you've achieved, not only as a father, but also the CEO of 42 Abu Dhabi.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I can only wish you to go further, and I'm sure you will.
I hope. I really hope.
We've got to do this again in 5 years and just see what's going on.
Let's do it.
Done?
I'm happy. Happy to do it.
Okay. Now, remember at the beginning of this podcast, I asked you to choose one of 3 envelopes. You went for number 2. Mm-hmm. Can I ask you to grab that number 2 envelope? Now, we haven't looked inside this envelope, but you're about to turn it over.
Okay.
And it's going to be somewhat of a challenge.
Okay.
And we're going to see if you're going to be able to do this.
All right.
Now, I don't know what's behind there.
You ready?
But I'm prepared for all 3.
Okay.
You ready?
Sure.
Turn it over. Read it out loud.
Inflate the balloon to the specified size within 10 seconds as directed by the show host.
I'm the show host, people. So here we go. Interesting enough, I've got a balloon in my pocket. Okay. It's never been used. You're going to have to blow that up. Now, it's up to me to determine how big I want that to go.
Okay.
Are you ready?
10 seconds.
You have 10 seconds.
All right, I'm going to be out of breath. Let's do this.
The size of the balloon, Marcos, is this.
All right.
10 seconds. You analyze my hands.
I'm trying.
You're going to get it, right? You're going to get it.
I hope so.
Okay.
What if it pops?
Well, that's the aim. I've got a pin.
All right.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Your time starts right now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up.
I get it?
You did it.
All right.
Oh!
That was loud.
That was very loud. Well done.
Thank you so much. I had a blast. Seriously,
There is nothing that you cannot do, and that's amazing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Can we take a selfie?
Absolutely. Let's
go. Ready? 1, 2.
Awesome.
Absolute legend.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Marcos, thank you so much. There it is, the 100X podcast with CEO of 42 Abu Dhabi. Until next time, we'll see you soon.